Hello everyone, my name is Jesus and I'm going to be talking about my experience with the Flowrider. I've started doing the Flowrider when the first time I went on the Royal Caribbean with my friends, and then me and my friends were able to pretty much would challenge each other to see who can do the best on the Flowrider. When we first started, most of us fell down the first time we tried, but back then about like maybe 4 years ago or 5 years ago, Royal Caribbean would let you do the Flowrider as much as you want, even if you fall down standing. But over the last 3 years or so, Royal Caribbean has did it on a you have one time to prove to the cruise that you can do it. So pretty much me and my friends literally had to get a lot better on riding Flowrider, because it's like you could pretty much on the whole cruise experience you could have like 4 attempts to try, and then after that you can't go back on, and then you have to do it like on your first go, you have to like stand on it. So when we first started, a lot of us were able to go, but it took us like maybe 4 or 5 tries of falling down until like we would be able to stand. But since they Royal Caribbean enacted the rule of you need to be able to stand the first time you like even touch it, I had to go out and like learn how to do Flowrider like outside the cruise, just so I can like enjoy the whole cruising experience of doing the Flowrider standing edition. So I spent a lot of time, like I found a Flowrider place, and then after that I would go there before a cruise, and I just like practiced for like hours. So then after that I can be ready to get on the cruise and be good. Last time I went on a cruise, I remember the first time I tried, even after the practice, I fell on day 1 simply because I started off on the wrong side. I realized that I can only start on one end. And then if you, like for example, like the end that I always started, I always have to start on that end. If I started on the upper end, I instantly just fall down. So I realized that my skills in Flowrider was all based on hours that I put in. And so like when I look at it, it's like for most people, if you had 1 hour of like falling up and down, you're gonna get eventually you'll be able to like ride the Flowrider if you have like at least 1 hour of experience of like coming up and down. But if you only get one shot, most people will never learn how to like flow ride until like you actually put the time into it. So for me, I was able to for me is like I learned that like at hour 5 I was able to pretty much I could stand and go back and forth. That's like hour 5. Hour 10 I got better of going up and down, and by hour 15 that's when I started being able to consistently do tricks. When I was able to do tricks between hours 1 and 10, all those tricks were more like I had no control. If my body started turning, my body is turning. I can't stop that. It's gonna happen. And then after that, at hour 15, I'd say hour 10 to 15 was when I started controlling tricks, and it not being my body's turning left, so I kind of have to do it no matter what. Or me like trying to save myself from falling down. And after that, on hour 20 was when it was just like I had like more absolute control of where I'd say like hour 15 and 20 was like more absolute control of where I could be there for an hour, assuming that I'm not like doing anything crazy. So when I was on the cruise, I think I was on hour 20. For the time of this video, I was like hour 20 to 25. And hour 20, 25 that's the skill level to where I'm able to do tricks. The tricks that I'm able to do is I can go left and right very easily. I can jump up. I can turn to be on my opposite way. I've also mastered to be able to like go on the opposite end. I'm able to have like kind of 1 foot off, kind of lift it up in the air. And I'm also able to where I can like look at a new trick of somebody that I've never done before, and then I could potentially be able to do it, but it'll take me about maybe 2 or 3 hours to like completely master it. Because at one point I was learning how to like sit on the board while also flow riding at the same time. Like imagine like squatting, and all of a sudden I'm like sitting down on the board, and then like the way you do a boogie board, but I'm just sitting on a regular surfboard. That was one trick I only mastered all the way down to sitting down, because I did not have enough time to master it, because I needed like more active time in the water. But anyways, so from my experience, I've learned, and I kind of use it throughout life, is that everything is like purely repetition. Like the more you do things, the better you'll eventually be at doing something, and then so every time I do something, even if I fail really hard, because when I first started doing Flowrider, the first 5 hours were tough, because it looked like, because if I started turning, I'm instantly falling. But it was just like, but that's just the experience of where sometimes when you like try something, it feels like you can't do it, and it's really, really hard. But I've learned that the difficulty is just the starting, but as long as you put more like repetition and more time into it, you'll eventually get better. So after that, I kind of used that, the experience, and I put it everywhere in my life. And so I kind of work on personal development very intensely. So I try to do all the pillars of life, which is like health, relationship, wealth, and I'd say mindfulness. But anyways, so if you go to my page, Tengen Morales, you can see pretty much my life and then my development and all the things going on. And thank you for listening to my story, and have a great day.